I would request and I welcome Hareet Shukla sir. Very good morning, sir. And on behalf of GTU, Gujarat Technological University, I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. And as a part of a tradition of GTU, I would request every participant to stand on their pace for GTU song.
जन कल्याण का अडिग हिमालय गुजरात तकनीकी विश्वविद्यालय GTU समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय GTU समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय इनोवेशन की मशाल उठाए ज्ञान को चारों ओर फैलाए विश्वकर्मा की कृपा को पाकर विश्व फलक पर शान बढ़ाए नवीनता की खुशबू से जो भारत का कण कण महकाए ज्ञान पिपासु शिष्य वृंद की तपो साधना सफल बनाए GTU समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय GTU समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय अनुभवी शिक्षक कौशल बढ़ाए परहित का ही पाठ पढ़ाए अनुसंधान और ज्ञान का संगम भावी पीढ़ी उज्जवल बनाए आत्मनिर्भर युवा बने और शिक्षित गौरव माता पिता का बढ़ाए में विश्वास विकास का यही क्रम दोहराए GTU को सर्वश्रेष्ठ बनाए हासिल करके उच्च सफलता शिक्षा जगत में क्रांति लाए सिद्धपुर सोमनाथ सूरत से कच्छ तलक फैला ज्ञानालय अपार संजोए संभावना गुजरात तकनीकी विश्वविद्यालय GTU समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय GTU समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय जन कल्याण का अडिग हिमालय गुजरात तकनीकी विश्वविद्यालय GTU समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय GTU समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय
It is being said, start your day with a smile because you are lucky to have seen a new day. With the new day comes with strength and new thoughts. And that is why it is being said that every day may not be good, but there is something good in every day. With this note, I, Brinda Pandya, welcome our esteemed speaker, Dr A R Mashelkarji sir, our guest of honor, Shri Hareet Shukla sir, Secretary, DST, Government of Gujarat, Honorable Vice Chancellor sir, respected Registrar sir, and Dr Sanjay Chauhan, Director, GIC. all other faculty members, students, startups, and all young minds. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Memorial Lecture Series is a novel try to keep his legacy, knowledge, wisdom, inspiration live among the young minds. Suitably named the People's President, Dr. Kalam, humility and dedication to public services served as an inspiration to millions of Indians and admirers around the world. As he is being named as People's President, there is one incident for which his inspiration and his wisdom and his knowledge has been shared. Dr. Kalam used to take care of his colleagues also, and one day one co-worker promised his kids that he would take them to science museum after returning from the work, and obtained the prior permission from Kalam to leave early for that day. The colleague was so engrossed in his work that he was well into the evening and he forgot his promise that he used to take his kids to the museum. He reached home very in rush, and once he reached home, he realized and his wife informed that Dr. Kalam visited earlier and took his kids to the museum. Maybe because he knew the power of science, the pain of poverty, sharing happiness without any obligation, and inspire them to be better individuals when they grow up. Now I'd request Dr. Sanjay Chauhan, Director GIC, for welcome address.
नमस्ते, सुप्रभातम। आज के इस 15 अक्टूबर सम्मानीय पूर्व राष्ट्रपति श्री अब्दुल कलाम जी के जन्मतिथि पर जो इनोवेशन डे के सेलिब्रेशन हम कर रहे हैं, उसकी उपलब्धि में वर्ष 2017 में गुजरात टेक्नोलॉजिकल यूनिवर्सिटी को बेस्ड स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम के संदर्भ में द्वितीय सम्मान मिला, और उसी सम्मान के आधार पर नीति आयोग अटल इनोवेशन मिशन के अंतर्गत ये डॉक्टर APJ अब्दुल कलाम मेमोरियल लेक्चर सीरीज का आयोजन किया है। और आज ये 7वां लेक्चर आदरणीय और सम्मानीय सिविलियन अवार्ड से सम्मानित पद्म भूषण, पद्म विभूषण एवं पद्म श्री के अवार्ड से सम्मानित आदरणीय श्री डॉक्टर माशेलकर सर जी का हार्दिक स्वागत है। साथ ही में गुजरात के डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के सेक्रेटरी और यंग और उत्साह से भरपूर श्री हरीत शुक्ला जी का भी स्वागत है। साथ ही में गुजरात टेक्नोलॉजिकल यूनिवर्सिटी के आदरणीय और विजनरी कुलपति प्रोफेसर नवीन सेठ सर और कुल सचिव डॉक्टर KN खेर सर का इस लेक्चर सीरीज के माध्यम से युवाओं को प्रेरणा मिले उस संदर्भ का आयोजन है। साथ ही में एक अब्दुल कलाम जी का जो युवाओं के प्रति एक प्रेरक संदेश है, वो कहना चाहूँगा कि जब उनको पूछा गया कि भाई युवाओं को आप क्या प्रेरणा मिलेगी और क्या संदेश देना चाहते, तो उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा सा एक कहा था कि आप सब अपने मन में अदम्य शक्ति उत्पन्न करें। साथ में अदम्य शक्ति के 2 अंग है। पहला वह कि आपका एक उद्देश्य होना चाहिए और उसके लिए आप कठिन परिश्रम करें। दूसरा यह कि कार्य करते हुए आपके मार्ग में कुछ समस्या अवश्य आएगी। इन परिस्थितियों में आप समस्याओं को अपने ऊपर हावी न होने दें, बल्कि स्वयं उन पर हावी होने का प्रयत्न करें, उन्हें पराजित करें और सफलता प्राप्त करें। यह हमारा सौभाग्य है कि हमारे देश में युवाओं की संख्या बहुत बड़ी है और इनके तेजस्वी मन अन्य किसी भी साधन की तुलना में सबसे महत्वपूर्ण साधन है। ये तेजस्वी मन जब अदम्य शक्ति के साथ काम करेंगे तो भारत का समृद्ध, सुखी और सुरक्षित भविष्य निश्चित है। तो आइए हम सब आज उनके जन्मदिन के अवसर पर उनके जो भी प्रेरक संदेश है उनको याद करें और आज हमारे बीच उपस्थित आदरणीय माशेलकर श्री से उनके विचारों का आदान प्रदान करें। धन्यवाद। आप सभी का स्वागत है।
Thank you so much, sir. One day we were in very deep discussion and we were unable to decide which option to choose because the matter was related to students. All of a sudden, someone said that if you are planning for a year, sow rice. If you are planning for a decade, plant trees. If you are planning for a lifetime, educate people. Because education is not preparation for life, education is life itself. The person is none other than our Vice Chancellor, sir, Dr. Naveen Sheth, sir. I request, sir, to provide us a glance about GIC and its activity. Welcome, sir.
Namaskar, very good morning. Respected Dr. Mashelkarji, respected Hareet Shukla, our registrar Dr. K.N. Kher, our director Dr. Sanjay, the other faculties, and all those who join virtually. I heartily welcome all of you here by my own self and the Gujarat Technological University. Today is the 15th October, very important day for a young budding technocrats. It is the birthday of our former president and the renowned scientist Shri APJ Abdul Kalam ji. GTU, with the inception of university by the government of Gujarat, it is the first university in the country having from very first day started the incubation center. And slowly the ecosystem developed all over the Gujarat by the efforts of the Gujarat Technological University. 403 startup incubated at our incubated center and 57 was registered with the DIPP with the central government. They have employed, means my startup employed 555 persons. They have revenue generated 13 crore rupees. So it's just a 10-year journey and we achieved so many milestones. And by our efforts is recognized by the NITI Aayog and the ICT, and they motivate and awarded for the APJ Abdul Kalam lecture series. And in that series, it is the 7th such lecture, and such a renowned person, Dr. Mashelkar, with us, who contributed a lot of things. The young technocrats know the contribution of Mashelkarji. Even I have heard him at the World Ayurveda conference there in the Pune, and he described the whole story that how he challenged this patent office of US when they are patenting the turmeric and the neem and other thing. And this TKDL project, whole project, traditional knowledge digital library, that is the contribution. So many contribution. It is one of the important contribution of Dr. Mashelkarji, and Dr. Mashelkarji with us. So again I welcome Dr. Mashelkarji, and your words will be inspire and motivate the students of such a large university with 450 affiliated colleges and about more than 4 lakh students enrolled with my university. So welcome here at GTU in this important function. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So today we have, as a guest of honor, we have Hareet Shukla, sir. Hareet Shukla, sir, is an IS officer and he's secretary at Department of Science and Technology, Government of Gujarat. 1999 batch officer, and who is also secretary of the Gujarat IAS Association. Currently, he is handling the key state government efforts to plug the spread of pandemic in state, and also is responsible for procurement of key drugs, kits, and ensure quick COVID-19 related treatment to all the government hospitals. There are so many things we can describe, but I would request Sir for his address. Hareet Shukla, sir, over to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Namaskar. Honorable Shri Dr R A Mashelkarji, Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Dr Naveen Sethji, Registrar of GTU Dr K.N. Kherji, Dr Sanjay Chauhanji. It is an immense honor for me to take part in this today's lecture series on this momentous occasion of Dr. APJ Kalam Memorial Lecture Series. It gives me a great opportunity to talk to a lot of young minds, and I always look forward to such occasions. Thank you very much. And as we all know that Dr. APJ Kalam was Missile Man of India, and also not only he contributed through his scientific research, but also served as the 11th President of India and was widely known as People's President. As an aerospace scientist, contributed and worked in two major institutions, that is DRDO and ISRO. And it was partly because of his efforts and scientists like him that he could attain degree of Atmanirbharta in our missile program. He has been an inspiration to a generation of people and is widely considered one of the greatest minds in India who lived. Through his research and through his writings, he keeps on inspiring a lot of us. In today's context, we all know that technology has become an inevitable part of today's day-to-day life, and a day without technology is unimaginable. Technology, unlike many aspects, is a dynamic thing, and it keeps on evolving with changes happening in the economy and the society. And innovation is the core driver of science and technology. An efficient mix of science, technology, and innovation is actually what acts as a catalyst in the development of a country. An efficient mix to address emerging national, regional, and global development challenges across many sectors is what is our motivation. The spirit of remaining competitive on the international platform and meeting the demands for an expensive and nutrient food, affordable healthcare, affordable housing, and meeting the development challenges of local authority is what we all aim towards. The spirit of remaining competitive on all these things is what we will be collectively making an effort, and that is what is the theme of today's lecture series. We all are looking forward for words of appreciation, words of inspiring words from Dr. Mashelkar. As far as Gujarat is concerned, Gujarat has always been at the forefront not only of manufacturing, but also in research and promoting innovation. As we have heard Vice Chancellor Dr. In the field of startup, fortunately, we have been making a lot of efforts, and through the combined efforts of all of us, Gujarat has recently been ranked number one in the startup ecosystem in the country. Which this is one of the achievement which we can be proud of. But there is so much which is left to be done, and I think we will all definitely work in this direction to not only uh, make this position to the ecosystem better, but also to retain this position in future. Fortunately, we are in a very difficult time, but still a lot of innovations and things are happening around us. Uh, as I, in my introduction, recently I've been associated with the response to the pandemic in Gujarat. We started, the situations were very, very difficult, but whether it is in field of medical instruments, whether it is in the field of drugs or other things, we have been able to innovate and come up with local solutions. So in a very, very short time, we have been able to not only develop ventilators, masks, PPE kits, but today, not only we are Atmanirbhar, but to extent we are ready to supply these things to the global demand also. We can take care of this. So it's no doubt this pandemic has been very, very challenging, and the kind of situation it poses is very, very difficult. But I think our people are rising to the occasion and finding solutions to become more and more Atmanirbhar. Government of Gujarat has also introduced various policies to technology and innovation policy not only supports pure research, but projects related to projects which are kind of solving the social civic problems. There are scope for supporting those kind of research, and also the products and prototypes which help in solving social and civic kind of problems. So I would advise all of you that in whatever you can take help of this project. I think one of the projects which we are implementing as of Gujarat recently is 15th village broad offices care and government. Currently in Gujarat, we have been doing well in connecting our villages with broadband, and more than 6,000 villages as of now have been given connectivity better than the connectivity which is available in the urban areas. Villages have 100 Mbps, which can be scalable to 1 Gbps connectivity. That presents a lot of scope and opportunity for our researchers, our innovators, using that broadband highway. A lot of services, a lot of products, a lot of innovations, apps, services can be delivered. I definitely look forward to this golden opportunity. I'm sure that GTU will also has been very, very active in promoting innovation, and the startup ecosystem has been a nodal point for the startup ecosystem in Gujarat. We will make all the effort. I can assure you, as a representative of government of Gujarat, that this effort of making our systems and our society Atmanirbhar, government of Gujarat will do its maximum and will be a very, very active partner in this whole system. I would just try to end this by saying what Dr. Kalam once said, that failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. So I think that with all our combined efforts and the inspiring words of our eminent personalities like Dr. APJ Kalam, we will achieve our rightful position in the global hierarchy, and will achieve Atmanirbharta as it being aimed by all our leaders. Thank you very much once again for giving me this opportunity, and thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your address. Our expert for today's session is versatile personality and cannot be described in words. I am fortunate enough to welcome him on behalf of Gujarat Technological University. He is an eminent scientist, an avid researcher, an optimist, an author, and blogger, and inspiration to millions of people. Dr. Mashelkar is known for his contribution to India's National Chemical Laboratory and Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, multiple Mashelkar committees, and successful campaign against foreign patents on Indian traditional knowledge. His mantras of inclusive innovation, more from less for more, and Gandhian Engineering have been a constant source of inspiration for corporate and youth alike. He has written 25 books, 284 research papers, and has been awarded honorary doctorate by 42 universities from India and abroad. He has also actively served the government of India for chairing 12 highly empowered Mashelkar committees, and his contribution to the nation and to science at large have been honored by plethora of awards. The most significant awards, the Padma Vibhushan, the Padma Bhushan, and Padma Shri, and the Business Week of Asia Award and Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize for Science and Technology. He is the third Indian engineer to be inducted as a Fellow of Royal Society, United Kingdom, and the first Indian to be elected as a Fellow of National Academy of Inventors, USA. Currently, Dr. Mashelkar sir is the president of Global Research Alliance, which is the world's largest network of publicly funded R&D institutes that work together to achieve Millennium Development Goals. He is also the chairperson of the National Innovation Foundation of India, which is aimed at promoting grassroots innovation to solve some of the society's biggest problems. He is an ambassador and analyst for innovation and R&D across the world and serve on the board of many leading companies. Not taking much time, I humbly request Sir to take over. Thank you, sir, and please welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Honorable Secretary, Science and Technology, distinguished personalities on the dais. First of all, I want to greet you on this very important day where we pay homage to a great son of India, the people's president, as he has been described. I want to thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor for giving me this opportunity to speak today. I also, to begin with, appreciate what GTU has been able to do in the startup space. You are an early starter, you are a pioneer, and what you have been able to accomplish in a short time is really very, very admirable indeed. I always talk about talent, technology, and trust. We have incredible talent. We have the capacity to develop the latest technologies, but what is required is trust in these young people so that they can realize their potential. And GTU is doing it wonderfully well. And my special words of appreciation for state of Gujarat. I saw that you were ranked number 1 in the national ranking on the startups. I have been personally associated with the Innovation Hub and so on in different ways. So again, my personal congratulations to the great level of innovation and entrepreneurship that has been demonstrated by the state. Let me begin my talk. The talk is going to be on Gandhian Engineering and how that can lead to Nirbhar Bharat with Atmavishwas, self-reliant India with self-confidence. So I'll be coming to that a little later, but let me first pay my tributes to Dr. Kalam. We have been old friends, by the way. We have known each other for a long, long time. So for the sake of students, I will just mention one anecdote which typifies this great man, who has been described as a missile man, but he was a missile man with great humility. And humility was one of his greatest qualities. So I'll tell you about a personal experience before I begin my lecture, because there is something that all young people can learn from him. The year was 1993, and I got a call from Dr. Kalam. He was heading DRDO then, 55 laboratories, defense research laboratories. And he said, Mashelkar, we are going to have the conference of the 55 directors in Pune, and I want you to give the keynote, the opening keynote, and inspire everybody. So I said, fine, I'll very grateful to you for the opportunity. I will come. So what will you speak on? So I said, I'll speak on fighting it in the marketplace. So he said, what does that mean? I said, in 1991, we liberalized, we opened up. Okay. And what it means is that we have to compete with the best in the world now, because the tariff barriers have gone away, basically. And of course, innovation is the key, but we just can't be reverse engineering. We can't be copying because those rights are gone now. Competition has basically come. So I will talk about that. He said, wonderful, let's do that. And I remember when the talk started, I introduced, I paid my respects to him by saying, Mr. Technology of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and then I went on. And then what had happened was that in 1989, I had started this campaign on patenting, IPR, intellectual property rights, because the importance of these, that our knowledge must create wealth for ourselves, for India, to me was absolutely the key. And I remember starting this in 1989, this campaign on patent, publish and prosper. Okay, Saraswati and Lakshmi going together. Basically, that was the idea. And I talked about it and how I said in 1991 we were able to license our 3 US patents for $1 million to a major company in the US who had 40% market share of that product. And we were able to think beyond that. So I said we are capable of doing that. And then I said about, I talked about the patent illiteracy in India. What is illiteracy? Ability to write a patent and read a patent. You read a patent in such a way that you can bypass it, but write a patent in such a way that nobody can bypass, etc. And I went on and gave the talk. During lunch, he came to me and he said, Mashelkar, as usual, you were very nice to me. He called me Mr. Technology of India. But can I tell you, I am Mr. Patent Illiterate of India. How important are patents for defense? So I said, sir, you can't patent a missile, but supposing you have developed a special advanced material or a sensor or whatever you can. So he called somebody in his character, he said, hey, come here, listen to Mashelkar and do whatever he says. And I remember that was the time we proposed the idea that the patent cell should not be just the headquarter, but each laboratory must sort of create it. And he said, let's implement that. The issue and the message for all of us is the following. Such a great man had such a humility. So he says, I'm patent illiterate. I think there is something that we can learn from him. And I have witnessed again and again, I have been a personal beneficiary. I don't have time to talk about that. Otherwise, I would have given Professor Sheth the entire lecture on Dr. Kalam. But I'll come back to the theme that I have. Having said that, let us look at the current situation. We have had a pandemic which has destroyed lives, which has destroyed livelihoods. Years of progress has been just washed off in just a few days, few weeks. If you look at Q2 of 2020, in almost 100 days, 100 million families moved from poverty to extreme poverty. The years of work was taken away. To remove poverty has taken us decades, actually. 400 million jobs were lost. The economic losses have been humongous. And you see that people are talking about an economic recession, which would be worst after World War I, etc. So this pandemic has also been a trailer on what could happen if there is a full-fledged climate change. It's a trailer, it's a warning, because the way the huge disruptions of supply chains have taken place, destruction of demand has taken place, and rapid proliferation, the speed at which things are spread across the globe is absolutely incredible. And therefore, from this, we have to now recover, we have to reimagine, we have to reinvent ourselves. And that is why our Prime Minister, in his usual inspiring way, has asked us to be an Nirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India. And we have to do it with Atmavishwas, with Atma Salman, and how we are going to do that. To start with, we had this program on Make in India. We launched it. But I would like to emphasize that Make in India, without Invent in India, will not take us anywhere. We have to see how do we position ourselves, because innovation is going to be the key. Because what we need is an innovation-led growth. Okay. Now, why do I say that? Just see what innovation does. Look at this iPhone. Okay. This is manufactured in China by Foxconn. For each mobile that is manufactured there, China, that is Foxconn, gets $10. But how much does Apple get? $350. Okay. So what are the options that we have? One is sweat it out, get $10, but get 4.5 million jobs as they got. There's option number one. Number two is innovate and get $350, but not many jobs because high tech, the number of jobs are. But the third is not only do this, get the jobs, but also innovate and get that $350. So that has to be our model. Made in India, not as in assembled in India, but invented in India. That's the first point I want to make. And if we don't do that, there is a penalty. What is the penalty? Just look at our mobile manufacture. What was the market share of Indian companies in 2015, just 5 years ago? 45%. Okay. What is it today? 9%. From 45%, we have come to 9%. What about China? They were just 7% and they have gone to 62%. So we went down and they went up. Why? Because we are just assembling the SQDs and not inventing. They were inventing, they were creating user-friendly sort of features and the rest of it, etc. So there is no substitute. The second thing, as Prime Minister has rightly pointed out, our dependence on others has to go away. I mean, we talk about our being the pharmacy of the world. Okay, we are pharmacy of the world, but whom are we dependent upon? If you look at the intermediates, if you look at the APIs, advanced pharmaceutical ingredients, 70% of them come from China. If they stop that supply, what will happen to us? And therefore, the government has done the right thing by creating a movement on, creating API parks and funding and the rest of it, etc., so that we become independent, we become self-reliant. And that cannot be done without innovation. So I think the first point I'm trying to make is Nirbhar Bharat with Atmavishwas can be done only if we talk about make in India and invent in India. The important part now, I come to the part of my lecture, I think innovation-led growth is fine, but we have to make sure that it's an inclusive innovation. It includes the poorest of the poor. It includes those poor migrant laborers. It includes those people from villages. And it has to be inclusive innovation-led, accelerated growth. That's what we need. Now, when you talk about inclusion, that is where the word Gandhian engineering comes in. Now, you might ask, we have heard about chemical engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering. What is this Gandhian engineering? I'll tell you what the origin was. I remember in Australia in 2008, I was honored as the Fellow of Australian Academy. And I was also asked to give a talk in the ATSE Innovation Forum 2008. And I told them that Mahatma Gandhi was the greatest gift from India to the world in the 20th century, but in the 21st century, Gandhian engineering will be the greatest gift. And what is the greatest gift based on? So I took two tenets of Mahatma Gandhi. The first was, there is enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. That means getting more from less. That means use the resources carefully and preserve them for our future. So you have to get more from less. But the second was, I would prize every invention of science made for the benefit for all. He said for all. So put together the more from less and for all. So it is more from less for more people, for more. And it is for more people, not for more profit. I think that's the important sort of part of it. That 2008 lecture was followed by C.K. Prahlad and I writing a paper in Harvard Business Review. It was called Innovation's Holy Grail, More from Less for More. And that, by the way, became the 10 must-read papers topmost in innovation. And immediately after that, in November 2010, World Economic Forum understood the importance of more from less, and they actually had a half-a-day session on more from less. How quickly that message spread. Because in order to create equalities of access during inequalities, despite inequalities in income, you have no other option but to get more from less for more people, do Gandhian engineering, so as to say. So I've been promoting these principles through number of personal actions across the world. I've spoken practically everywhere, from Beijing to Bangkok and Paris to London and Washington to Copenhagen and so on and so forth, just conveying this message. Spoke in Harvard, spoke in Cambridge, spoke in corporate world and so on. But it's not just about speaking, some action. So I started in my mother's name what is called as Anjani Mashelkar Inclusive Innovation Award. And that Anjani Mashelkar Inclusive Innovation Award is given really for Gandhian engineering. You know, you can see that making high technology work for the rich is very easy. Making low technology work for the poor, very easy. But making high technology work for the poor is very difficult. So this award is given to those who make high technology work for the poor and do more from less for more. Let me give you some examples. This is the 10th year, by the way. We are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the award this year. Let me just tell you about one award. This was by Rahul Rastogi. What did Rahul Rastogi do? His father had a challenge with his heart. So in the middle of the night, he had to be taken to the hospital for ECG. And then you lie down and then it takes half an hour, put 12 leads and the nurse takes the thing, etc. You have seen that. He said, why should that be the case? Why can't I create a portable ECG? He's an electronics wizard. And he created that. And this is the portable ECG that he has created. This is called Sanket. Today you can go on the internet, go to Amazon, and you can buy this for 2,500 rupees. Okay? This is as accurate as you will have this 12 lead. But there is a story behind it. When we gave him the award, it was 6 lead. I said, no, we have to have excellence to the ultimate. I want 12 lead. He said, it will take 46 lakh to create that. I don't have money. And I remember talking to Tata Trust, their corporate social responsibility. And within no time, they gave 46 lakh. That is how this has come about. So there is a message here that when we talk about startups, and particularly when there is something that is of societal benefit that is created, the private sector has to come in. That 2% net profit that they reserve for corporate social responsibility can help in taking these products forward. Because what happens is that initially, you can't get money from venture capital. They can't afford commercial loans and so on and so forth. So supporting something like this becomes extremely important. There is a lesson to that. Now, what is the impact of this? It's huge. Look at our rural villages, for example. All right, if there is an old woman who has a pain and she has to be taken an ECG, you would put her on a scooter or a bullock cart or a jeep and take her to a few kilometers. By that time, one doesn't know what happens. Not now. Because if you have connectivity, then this can give. How does it work? You have to put, you see this? You have to put your 2 thumbs for 15 seconds here. Okay? And then there is a sensor at this end. This is your heart. 15 seconds, 15 seconds, 15 seconds. And below the heart, 15, 15, 15 seconds. So within 3 minutes, if you have downloaded an app called Sanket, that ECG will go to the best expert anywhere by email or by WhatsApp. You can just sort of send it. Now you can just see that poor rural woman, because of this technology, which represents Gandhian engineering, actually is able to save her life. And not only that, get the advice from the best expert, maybe in Ahmedabad or Pune or Mumbai or wherever it is actually. This is what I mean by inclusion. That is what Anjani Mashelkar Inclusive Innovation Award. I'll give you another example. Mir Shah, for example, his mother-in-law died of cancer. And as you know, mammography is done, which is very painful. He said, why should that be? And he created a very high technology-based, non-invasive method. It is called iBreast. So this is your breast. You just move it around, basically. It basically scans it. And within 5 minutes, you get to know whether you have breast cancer or not. Now, this invention has been not only US patented, it has been approved by US FDA. It has been approved in Europe with a CE certificate, and they're now going to 25 countries. Now you can just imagine the cost per scan would be just $1, by the way. Can you just imagine that? We can scan entire Gujarat, we can scan entire Maharashtra, for breast cancer, because women die because they don't have. Well, so this is the kind of innovation that I call as Gandhian Engineering. And these are both startups, by the way. Let me tell you about the third startup, Mishkin Ingawale. He found that women in villages are dying. Why? Because their hemoglobin levels are low and they are not detected. Why? Because they think the blood is very precious. They don't give it. So he actually created something where non-invasive, you can just put it around your finger and you know what your hemoglobin is. In fact, when we gave him the award, Mrs. Anuaga gave the award, and as he was receiving the award, he put it around her finger and said 11.8, take care. It's as easy as that. Cost 10 rupees per, not 200 rupees and so on and so forth. And completely non-invasive. You can scan every woman, basically, in a village. But as I said, making high technology work for the poor. He used high technology, photoplethysmography, spectrophotography, then advanced software for photon scattering. And that is how this technology comes. So the central point I want to make is that getting more from less for more is making high technology work for the poor, highest level of technology. And what we have to do also is to make the societal transformation through such technology. Last year's awardee, the 9th Anjani Mashelkarji Inclusive Innovation Awardee, did something which was just fitting for our celebrations of 150 years. Sanitation is more important than political freedom. That's what Mahatma Gandhi had said. And you have seen those manual scavengers, basically, they die. All right, many of them die young, as you know. And actually, the Supreme Court had passed those remarks that sewers are gas chambers where manual scavengers are sent to die, as a matter of fact. Their conditions are pathetic, because they can't bear the strain, they start drinking and their liver gets destroyed and so on and so forth, etc., etc. Now, I always say there is innovation, compassion, and passion. Innovation up here, compassion in the heart. So these young startup from Kerala, and I'm giving examples only of startups, by the way. Okay, they had compassion, and they said, "Why manhole? Manhole is a bad term. What do you mean by man in the hole? It has to be machine in the hole." All right, and they created a robot which does the cleaning very fast and very effectively. Now that is called Bandicoot, by the way, and that is commercially now available in the market. Now then you will say, what happens to that poor scavenger? What about his job? They thought about it. And what they do is that they train that same scavenger on operating the robot. Now just imagine, technology has to give dignity for all also. Just imagine their children in the school. If they were asked previously, what does your father do? They would have said, he's a manual scavenger, by putting their head down. Now they can put up their head and say he's a robot operator. Can you just see the difference? And I'm very happy that this technology was discussed in a central committee, basically deals with these issues of manual scavengers and rehabilitation. And I want to congratulate our government that they are bringing up a bill on prohibition of employment as manual scavengers and rehabilitation now, where they will completely ban this and say this has to be all used by machine. So technology drives policy, policy drives technology. I think these are brilliant examples. I'm very glad that the Honorable Vice Chancellor talked about ventilators. Now, here is an important issue, because we always talk about, our private sector is not contributing this, that, and the other. Not the case. I've been the chairman of Marico Innovation Foundation from 2003. And Harsh Mariwala, with a big heart, started that by putting his own money. And then Amit Chandra of Bain Capital and he came together And as soon as the pandemic hit, they created a 2.5 crore grand challenge award. You know, because we're running, I mean, we were importing ventilators, we were importing PPEs, etc., etc. And I became the chairman of the committee to judge it. Amazing response. You know, within a month, we had 1,500 intents, and out of that, 600 actually applications came. Finally, we whittled it down to 6, and then finally there were 3 winners, basically. Now, if you look at the winner, they have made these just suited for India. You saw the outage of power in Mumbai on the other day for several hours. What happens when there is a power breakdown? What happens to those who are on ventilators? So you have to create systems which will work even if there is a power breakdown. Even in villages, we don't have electricity. How would you make it work? You look at medical oxygen, for example. It is not available. We have been running sort of short of that. Okay? So how do you create systems where from ambient air you can draw oxygen and basically use it? Then you don't have trained workers, basically. So the winners like Noka, it was an IIT startup, by the way, working in robots, they went and developed something fantastic. Then KPIT Technologies, you know, they are in software and software services. They had never looked at ventilators. Now they have created something which is world class, can be used in ambulance, at home, in ICUs, and so on. This Shreya Electric Medical, for example, they created something which even when there is nobody to sort of look at that, it runs an automatic ventilation, and they don't need a piped oxygen, for example, you know, drawing air, from air the oxygen. I mean, these are the technologies that are important for India. All right, that would be the real Gandhian engineering, the fruits of science reaching sort of the ultimate. I'd like to end my talk in 5 minutes' time by saying that I have focused quite a lot in terms of Atmanirbhar Bharat. What are my messages? One is make in India, invent in India. The second message is that yes, we can do that and we can be better than the best in the world. All right? Yeah, you're right, actually. When we began, we were importing PPEs. Now we export PPEs, basically. If you saw one of my CSR laboratories, and I say my CSR because that's the only organization I've served for 40 years, basically, created a paper strip based detection, which is the first in the world using the CRISPR-Cas9 technology, for which, you know, CRISPR got the Nobel Prize just last week. Okay, just 500 rupees, not 2,500 rupees, and result within 1 hour. So we are capable of doing that, getting more from less for more. The last point I want to make is about education. Because you can't create Atmanirbhar Bharat unless we have trained people, skilled people, and skills of the highest level. And education is our future. But what has happened now? In the pandemic, 1.6 billion people, basically, I mean, the children were out of school. But the unfortunate part of that is that 30% of them don't have access to online learning. So would they go without education? Would they have no future at all? And therefore, we have to look at digital access because there is a digital deprivation. And I have seen what has happened. There is a father in Himachal Pradesh, Kuldeep Kumar. He sold his only cow for 6,000 rupees to get smartphone for his children. Near Pune, last week, a girl committed suicide because she did not have a smartphone. And these are suicides that are occurring in Kerala, in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and so on and so forth. So we must make these digital devices accessible and affordable. Now, could we not do that in India? Yes, we could. I mean, if we look at Simputer, which came up in 2001, you know, we had that, basically. But somehow or the other, we did not push it. It was ahead of the rest of the world. Akash, $35. Again, it was there, but we did not push it. So I think we require policies that are very, very important, which we can sort of push forward in terms of public procurement in order to make these sort of happen. I would just end my talk by, since a lot of students are there, I like to leave with 5 Mashelkar mantras, if you like, which have helped me in my life. I hope they will be useful to you. The first Mashelkar mantra is aspirations are your possibilities. Keep them high. If you aim at Everest, you will reach at least Kanchenjunga. But if you aim at Kanchenjunga, you may not even reach Hanuman Tekri. And if you aim at Hanuman Tekri, you will stay where you are. That is extremely important. The second is perseverance pays. It is too easy to give up. Winners never quit, quitters never win. So, purpose, perseverance, and passion, they have to go together. You have to have a big purpose, a North Star. And there has to be a perseverance and never. So, and that is why I always tell the student that fail, FAIL, that is first attempt in learning. Your best guru is your last mistake. And you have to learn from that mistake. Okay? So that's my second message. The third one, and this is all important for every student, hard work. There is no substitute to hard work. You know, like instant coffee, there is no instant success, mind you. Okay? But, and I have myself, I'm 77 now, but I work 24 into 7, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. But work hard in silence, let success make all the nights. That is my third. The fourth is don't keep on knocking on the door of opportunity. If they don't open, create your own new doors. I remember coming back to NCR in 1976. I would get the imported equipment. I changed my field. I didn't keep on knocking on the door. And within 5 years, I got the SS Bhatnagar Prize, which is the highest that an under 45 student can get. Had I just kept on waiting for 2 years, nothing would have happened. So open your new doors. And the final point I would like to make is the following, which comes from Professor C.N.R. Rao, my great guru, Bharat Ratna. You know, I remember when I became fellow of Rao Society, only 3 engineering scientists in 360 years have become. So I thought it was a great honor, and I phoned him up. You know, sir, I have become a FRS. You know what was his response? Not bad. I was very disappointed. Then I became fellow of American Academy of Arts and Science. You know, from 1780, it was established. Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, 200 Nobel laureates have been fellows, right from Winston Churchill to Charles Darwin to Nelson Mandela. Only 7 Indians have become. So I thought now he'll be very impressed. I called him. You know what was his response? Not bad. Then this, as you mentioned earlier, US Academy, National Academy of Inventors. Again, he said, so I got upset. I said, sir, what do I have to do to impress you? And what he told me is the last message I want to leave with. He said, you are climbing on a ladder of excellence, which is limitless. The only limit that you have is what you put on your head. What does that mean? It means no matter what you achieve, you say, my best is yet to come. So here is a mantra for you. You will be in your 20s, you will become 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. You will live for 100 years. This generation is going to live for 100 years. Every day, my message to you, and this is the last line I want to. Every day in the morning, you get up and you say, my best is yet to come. Maybe today is the day it will come. And if you do it all along your life, India will have its rightful place in the Committee of Nations, which is right up there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Maybe this session was very inspiration to all students, and maybe this discussion would lead them to invent and innovate more. We will always keep these points in mind that keep our aspiration high, perseverance pay. Fail is not failure, but it is first attempt in learning. Work hard in silence. Open your new doors by yourself. Don't wait for doors to open by others. And my best is yet to come. Thank you so much, sir. And now I would request K.N. Kher, sir, for the welcome.
Namaste. I would like to start with one quote of our beloved former President, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. All of us do not have a equal talent, but all of us have an equal opportunity to develop our talent. I am honored and fortunate to have an opportunity to give a vote of thanks on this special occasion, birth anniversary of Dr. Abdul Kalam, and memorial lecture series on Gandhian Engineering, Path to Atma Nirbhar Bharat with Atmavishwas, delivered by Dr R A Mashelkarji and hosted by Gujarat Technological University. This is an seventh lecture series of total 12 lectures to organize, where we invite national experts to deliver a talk on a theme of creativity and innovations. We heartily get grateful and thankful to Dr. R A Mashelkar sir, renowned scientist who awarded with Padma Awards, which are one of the highest civilian honor of India, announced annually. University is thankful to Dr. R. A. Mashelkar sir for giving their valuable time to address the young scientists and building entrepreneurships of the nation. As brief, GTU has created Innovation Council way back in 2010 with aim to create awareness about creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Through our efforts, we have motivated our affiliated institute colleges to have innovation clubs since their inception. We have total 115 GTU innovation clubs exist, which is working towards building future talent for innovation and entrepreneurship. As you conveyed, university will work. I would also like to thank Shri Hareet Shukla sir, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Gujarat, for sparing his valuable time for this occasion. We would also like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir, Professor Naveen Seth sir, to motivate and encouragement towards the innovation related activity. I would also like to sincere thanks to GTU Parivar and especially to all GTU stakeholders, students, faculty, principals, industries, and supporting staff participate and make this event memorable and successful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Before we end our session, I would request everyone to stand at your place for national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Once again, on behalf of GTU Innovation Council and GTU, I sincerely thank Mashelkar sir, Hareet Shukla sir, all the faculty members, students, and startups. Thank you for joining us on this lecture, and we wish you a healthy and safe weekend ahead. Thank you.